Oumuamua, which is an object that we detected in space that you believe could possibly have been extraterrestrial.
In the vastness of the universe, it seems unlikely that we're alone, right? Space holds too many mysteries to completely rule out the possibility of discovering other intelligent life.
And occasionally those big pieces of rock are big enough to cause mass devastation that easily take out a city, pretty easily take out a country, sometimes take out, like the one that took out the dinosaurs, take out pretty much every big living thing on the planet.
Life on Earth has managed to survive in extreme environments. Just take tardigrades as an example. So it makes sense to think that extraterrestrial organisms could have done the same. Two possibilities exist. Either we are the only intelligent beings in the universe, or we are not. As Arthur C. Clarke famously said, both scenarios are equally unsettling. Given the numerous discoveries and theories from some of the greatest scientific minds, there's a strong chance that we are not alone in the cosmos. Brian Cox believes it's time to examine the evidence. The well-known physicist suggests that signs of advanced extraterrestrial civilizations may be present in our skies. But is there any proof to support such a bold statement? Do aliens exist? Could they already be here? Let's take a closer look. NASA's newly formed task force on unidentified anomalous phenomena UAPs recently held its first open meeting. A UFO, now officially termed a UAP, refers to any airborne object that cannot be immediately linked to an aircraft or a known natural event. Meanwhile, there have been intriguing clues suggesting extraterrestrial activity in our skies. On October 19, 2017, Canadian astronomer Robert Weirich was analyzing images from the Pan-STARRS 1 telescope when he spotted something unusual. A small point of light was moving at an incredible speed of over 200,000 miles per hour. Weirich alerted his colleagues, who quickly began tracking the object using multiple observatories. The more they studied it, the more baffling its behavior became. It was roughly the size of a city block, but its brightness varied drastically as it tumbled through space, suggesting an unusual shape. It could have been flat and circular like a cosmic disk, or long and narrow like a spacefaring cigar. Instead of following an elliptical orbit around the sun, it was moving in a nearly straight path away from it. Astronomers determined that this bright dot was something entirely new, an interstellar object, a fleeting visitor from a distant solar system. Formally catalogued as one I/2017 U1 by the International Astronomical Union, it was later given the name Oumuamua, a Hawaiian word that roughly translates to scout. Even interstellar objects are governed by gravity, yet Oumuamua appeared to be accelerating as if propelled by an unknown force. The gases released by comets, which form their distinctive tails, give them an extra push. However, Oumuamua had no tail. Telescopes focused on it also failed to detect any signs of outgassing, such as water vapor or dust. This object is undeniably unusual, but unfortunately, Oumuamua is now too dim and far away to allow for further observations. Astronomers analyzed the data carefully, ruling out one explanation after another. Its strange movement could not be attributed to a collision with another object, interactions with the solar wind, or the Yarkovsky effect, which was named after an 18th century Polish engineer. One team of researchers concluded that the most likely explanation for 1I 2017 U1 was that it was a small comet with an undetectable tail due to its unusual chemical makeup. Another group proposed that most of Oumuamua was composed of frozen hydrogen. A variation of the mini-comet theory, this idea was appealing because it explained the object's odd shape. By the time it reached our solar system, most of it had melted away, similar to an ice cube left out in the open. Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb put forward the most astonishing explanation for Oumuamua. Loeb argued that the object didn't behave like a typical interstellar visitor because it wasn't one. It was manufactured by an extraterrestrial civilization. Harvard postdoc Shmuel Bialy and Loeb suggested that the only viable way to explain Oumuamua's unexpected acceleration was to assume that it was an artificial object. It could be alien debris, like an abandoned vehicle drifting through interstellar space, or it might be a fully operational probe sent to explore our solar system. Loeb and Bialy believed the second scenario was more likely, as the chances of humans detecting a random piece of alien junk floating across the galaxy were extremely low. Naturally, their theory drew a great deal of attention, but not all scientists agreed. Among the skeptics were University of Arizona astronomer Benjamin Weiner and Ohio State University astrophysicist Paul M. Sutter. Instead of backing down, Loeb doubled down on his claims. Along with Thiem Huang, a scientist from the Korea Astronomy and Space Science Institute, he challenged the frozen hydrogen theory. In another paper filled with equations, they argued that solid hydrogen drifting freely in space was an unrealistic assumption. Even if such a frozen chunk could form, they maintained that an object the size of Oumuamua would never survive a journey through interstellar space. If H2 particles were able to form, sublimation caused by collisional heating would essentially vaporize them before they could even begin to escape. In Extraterrestrial, Loeb explains his reasoning as follows. Unless some undetectable form of outgassing was taking place, the only possible explanation for Oumuamua's unusual acceleration is that it was propelled by solar radiation, or, more specifically, by photons reflecting off its surface. For solar radiation to push the object, it would have to be extremely thin, no more than a millimeter thick, with low density and a significantly large surface area. Something like that would function as a sail, but instead of being moved by wind, it would be propelled by light. Sails are created by people, not by nature. Because of this, Loeb concludes that Oumuamua must have been designed, built, and sent out by an extraterrestrial intelligence. In 1995, Swiss astronomers Michel Mayor and Didier Queloz identified the first planet ever found orbiting a Sun-like star. The planet was officially named 51 Pegasi b, as its host star, 51 Pegasi, is located in the Pegasus constellation. Later, it was renamed Dimidium under a new naming system. At the time, the discovery of Dimidium made headlines worldwide. Its mass, approximately 150 times that of Earth, was remarkably large. Because it completed an orbit around its star every 4 days, it had to be extremely close to it. It was also likely to be incredibly hot, with surface temperatures reaching up to 800 degrees. Finding such a massive planet so close to its parent star surprised astronomers, who had to establish a completely new category for it, naming it a hot Jupiter. In 2009, NASA launched the Kepler Space Telescope, which was designed to detect exoplanets using a different method. When a planet passes in front of its star, it causes a slight dimming in the star's brightness. Kepler measured fluctuations in the brightness of over 150,000 stars in the constellations Cygnus and Lyra. By the time its mission ended in 2018, it had identified 1,600 additional planets. Since the Milky Way contains at least 4 billion Sun-like stars, this suggests that there could be anywhere from 1.5 billion to 2.4 billion planets in our galaxy that have the potential to support life. It might be even more unsettling that we haven't heard from sentient aliens yet than the idea of encountering them. This is what's known as the Fermi Paradox. In 1950, while having lunch at Los Alamos National Laboratory, physicist Enrico Fermi turned to his colleagues and asked, "Where are they?" At least, that's one version of the story. Another version says he asked, "But where is everybody?" This was years before the Kepler mission and Pan-STARRS 1. Despite that, Fermi believed Earth was just an ordinary planet orbiting an average star. He figured there had to be civilizations far older and more advanced than ours, some of which should have already mastered intergalactic travel. But strangely, no one had shown up. Since then, many have spent time trying to answer Fermi's question. In the 1960s, astronomer Frank Drake came up with the Drake equation, a method for estimating how many alien civilizations we might be able to communicate with. Key factors in the equation include the number of planets that could support life, the percentage of those planets that develop advanced technology, and how long such civilizations last. As scientists have discovered more planets capable of hosting life, the question of where are they has only grown more troubling. At a conference in Paris in 2019, French researcher Jean-Pierre Rospard suggested that aliens may be keeping Earth under a kind of galactic quarantine. He theorized that they understand how disruptive it would be for us to know they exist. Loeb, however, argues that Fermi's question might answer itself. Humans have only been able to communicate with extraterrestrial life via radio waves for the last couple of centuries. 75 years ago, Fermi and his Manhattan Project colleagues developed the atomic bomb, followed by Edward Teller's hydrogen bomb a few years later. That means shortly after we became capable of reaching out to other worlds, we also gained the ability to destroy ourselves. Since then, we've only added more ways to bring about our own downfall, including synthetic microorganisms and unchecked climate change. Loeb warns that the next few centuries could determine whether our civilization survives at all. He suggests that if alien civilizations have reached the level of technology needed to explore the universe, they may also be vulnerable to self-destruction. It's possible that no one has visited us because there's no one left to make the journey. If that's the case, Oumuamua could be the cosmic equivalent of an artifact, something left behind by a civilization that disappeared long ago. This highly speculative line of reasoning could be interpreted as a cautionary message for humanity to be wary of emerging technologies. Loeb, however, reaches the opposite conclusion. He argues that humanity should strive to develop a photon-powered vessel modeled after Oumuamua. To pursue this goal, he works as a consultant for the Breakthrough Starshot Initiative, which aims to demonstrate the feasibility of ultra-fast, light-driven nanocrafts. Over time, the group hopes to establish the groundwork for a mission to Alpha Centauri, the nearest star system to Earth, located roughly 25 trillion miles away. Astronomer Carl Sagan, who played a major role in advancing the search for extraterrestrial life, is widely known for the phrase, "Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence." Loeb's claim does not meet what is often referred to as the Sagan standard, and his strongest argument for Oumuamua being an alien craft is that alternative explanations are unconvincing. As long as there remains a possibility that Oumuamua is an alien probe, it would be unwise not to investigate further. However, Loeb outright rejects the Sagan standard, stating, "It is not obvious to me why extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence," and instead flips the logic. Extraordinary conservatism keeps us extraordinarily ignorant. Meanwhile, a former intelligence official recently testified in court that the U.S. government has long been aware of and has concealed evidence of extraterrestrial life. At a House of Representatives hearing on UFOs, witness David Grush stated that the Pentagon had recovered biological remains believed to be of non-human origin, along with crashed vehicles. I was informed during my official duties of a multi-decade UAP Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena crash retrieval and reverse engineering program. but I was denied access to it, he said at the hearing. My testimony is based on information provided by individuals with a well-established history of credibility and service to this country. Many of them also shared compelling evidence, including photographs, official documents, and classified oral testimony. 2 additional witnesses, both former Navy personnel, testified about their direct encounters with UFOs while on duty, including one incident that was recorded on camera in 2004. A UFO or UAP refers to any unidentified object that is detected and cannot be immediately explained. While some cases turn out to involve weather balloons, drones, or small aircraft with simple explanations, others remain unresolved. Discussions about the possibility of extraterrestrial life have gained significant attention. A 2019 Gallup poll found that 68% of Americans believe the U.S. government knows more about UFOs than it is willing to reveal. Additionally, 33% of those surveyed believed that some UFO sightings were actually alien spacecraft visiting Earth. Congress has held 2 hearings on UFOs over the past 2 years, revisiting the topic after nearly 6 decades. The last time such hearings took place was in 1966, when Congressman Gerald Ford initiated 2 sessions to investigate UFO sightings reported across the country, including in southern Michigan. However, no definitive evidence of extraterrestrial life has been confirmed. Grush stated that he has not personally witnessed any UFOs and chose not to publicly expand on some of his claims due to security concerns, though he assured that he would be more forthcoming in private discussions. When asked whether anyone had been harmed or killed to conceal information about extraterrestrial technology, Grush responded affirmatively. He also alleged that the military had diverted funds meant for other programs to attempt reverse engineering of what was believed to be non-human technology. However, when pressed on whether anyone had been murdered, he said he needed to be cautious and had directed those with relevant information to the proper authorities. Following the highly debated congressional hearing, Brian Cox weighed in on the possibility of alien life. Cox, one of the most recognized physicists in the world, shared his perspective on Twitter. When asked for his thoughts on the UFO discussions in Congress the previous day, he wrote, "I keep getting asked what I think about the UFO discussion in Congress yesterday, so here it is. I watched some clips and saw individuals who seem convinced of certain things making extraordinary claims without offering extraordinary evidence." Cox continued by saying, "It would be great if true, because it would ease some of the burden on our civilization if we weren't the only way for the universe to understand itself within the Milky Way." He concluded with, "Unfortunately, as of today, I still feel that responsibility. So instead of hoping that, to paraphrase Sagan, someone will descend to save us from ourselves, maybe we should focus on not ruining our own world." A Pentagon spokesperson and others have dismissed Grush's claims as false. Still, some argue that the subject deserves further investigation, given the sheer number of UAP reports, whistleblowers, and testimonies. Despite extensive research, scientists have yet to find definitive evidence of life elsewhere in the universe. However, considering the immense number of planets and moons, it is highly unlikely that Earth is the only place where intelligent life exists. The search for extraterrestrial life remains one of the most intriguing and controversial topics in modern science.